Good morning, members. I would like to send you my best wishes in the Year of the Goat. I now call to order the meeting of the Subcommittee on Port Control, Public Cargo Working Area Order 2015. Well, for today's meeting, in fact, last time some members suggested that perhaps we should have a meeting with deputations and the administration. And therefore, the Secretariat invited the relevant stakeholders to attend our meeting. So for today's meeting, we have got a representative from the Western District Public Cargo Working Area, as well as a representative from the Hong Kong Cargo Vessel Traders Association Limited. We've also got representatives from the District Council. So first of all, we'll give the floor to the deputations, but before that, let's invite the deputations and the team from the administration to join us. Perhaps let's deal with the first item on the agenda, confirmation of minutes of the meeting. The minutes has already been sent out to you. According to the clerk, we haven't received any proposed amendments. So do I take it that the minutes can be confirmed? All right, thank you. Good morning. I would like to welcome Mr. Tony Chen, Chief Assistant Secretary for Transport and Housing Transport from the Bureau, Mr. Chung Xiu Man, Assistant Director from the Marine Department, as well as Mr. Hui Bing Chen, Senior Marine Officer, also from the Marine Department. Welcome, gentlemen. First of all, I would like to ask the administration to walk us through the LegCo brief. Mr. Chen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Central and Western District Council, under the Signature Project Scheme, would like to implement an initiative called the Harbourfront Enhancement and Revitalization at the Western Wholesale Food Market. It is right next to the Western District Public Cargo Working Area, and therefore the Marine Department would like to set aside a small portion of land measuring about 217.6 square meters for the provision of an access point to the harbourfront project of the District Council. In addition, to align with the latest government land allocation boundaries, 3 additional small portions of land with a total area of about 320 square meters will be incorporated into the Western District PCAA redelineation. On the 30th of January 2015, the order was gazetted and tabled at the LegCo for vetting. The order will commence from a date to be appointed in the Gazette in the light of the funding approval of the project. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for giving us the briefing. We have a number of deputations. The District Council representative is still on his way. But first of all, let's invite the following deputations to address the subcommittee. Welcome, Mr. Wong. Welcome, Mr. Chen. When you speak in a moment, please be reminded that what you say and your submissions will not be covered by the privileges and exemption under the LegCo Powers and Privileges Ordinance. Each of you will have 5 minutes to speak. So please express your views to us. First of all, Mr. Chen Chik-cho, representing the Western District PCWA. Mr. Chairman, I want to know, has it been allocated and when will it be used? You can express your views and then we will have a discussion with the administration. In the course of it, we may invite you to address us. Well, for our views, well, you're going to change the land use, right? You're going to set aside a portion of land. I want to know about the nature of the land use. Well, there will be redelineation of the PCWA, and then for a portion which is right next to the Western Wholesale Food Market, that land is required to provide access point. So there's a change or changes. Do you have other things to say? Not for the time being. I'll just wait and see. All right. In that case, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Wong Yiu-Ken, Executive Chairman from the Hong Kong Cargo Vessel Traders Association Limited. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, we welcome such a decision from the administration so that the PCWA can be more clearly delineated. And then for the access points, I think there will be rearrangements, and I'm sure this will facilitate the traffic flow of that area. This is something which is good. At certain sites, I think they are amenable to be opened to public use. The administration did exchange views with us, and we found it acceptable. If I may take this opportunity to comment on the PCWAs, not just related to the Western District PCWA. I think the administration should also look at the other PCWAs. I think we should have permanent land uses for PCWAs so that the workers can work on a sort of permanent site, and then we can also get something more modern. Otherwise, people get the impression that the PCWAs are all outdated facilities. So, be it for the Western District or other districts, I hope that the administration will pay more attention to PCWAs in the context of town planning and don't just look at it on a piecemeal basis. Please look at all the 6 PCWAs in the territory as a whole. At its peak, we got 11 PCWAs. Currently, we've got 6 left. So please also take care of the care for the other PCWAs as well. But for this specific one, I accept it. We've just started. You've got 5 minutes. So please express your views concerning the order itself. So please tell us about the views of the District Council or what you have got to say. Mr. Chen, District Council member. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In fact, I'm the chair for the working group on harbour front enhancement of the Central and Western District Council. Under the signature project scheme, we would like to revitalize 4 piers in the Central and Western District. For this one, we haven't got a separate access. Therefore, in the easternmost area, we would like to have it set aside for us as our main access for our project. I think all along we've been given such an understanding. But then, for the MTRCL's access points for unloading the mud, it has never been known to us. So sort of they tried to introduce it secretly. All along, we've expressed our concern about the serious shortage of open space with the commissioning of the extension of the Island Line. We have got high-rise buildings, 40, 50, 60 stories tall. All along, we have had a shortage of open space. The District Council has had a number of discussion sessions. In fact, in the coming meeting, we will have a discussion for the 3rd time. That is, the 3 points in question should be given back to us from the MTRCL for the sake of open space.
At the end of December, the MTRC will hand over the mud unloading points. We have been communicating with the Development Bureau, which is taking care of the project. And we ask that these 3 points be zoned for open space. The THB said then that they have to do an assessment on the usage of the PCWA, and then they will make a decision on whether our request can be acceded to. They said that the assessment will be completed by early this year, but then this is not happening. And not only that, they are now proposing that these 3 vacant sites be zoned as part of the PCWA. We think that this is doing this without our consent and approval. And they will be leasing out the sites for 3 to 5 years. The District Council and the residents have been asking for the use of this space, and we may have to wait for 5 or even 7 years. We've asked the Marine Department to show us their plan, but then they will suddenly tell us that they will lease out the land. In 2009, the MTRC has taken over the sites, the 3 piers, and we have questions on whether these 3 piers should be included as part of the BCWA. We can also note that after the working hours, the residents will actually go into the PCWA area for a leisure walk. The government has been saying that the harbour front should be returned to Hong Kong people. Now, the sites will be vacated. Why can't they be handed over for use and enjoyment by the public? Why are we allowing this 3 sites to be used for the PCWA? Actually, the usage of the PCWA is not saturated. Is there a need to allot more land to them? I heard that they would have plans to relocate the Qingyi and Kuaiqing PCWA to the Western District. I don't think it makes sense in terms of planning. We shouldn't be relocating facilities in remote areas to the urban areas where land is very precious. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chan. I'll now open the floor to members for your comments and questions. The administration, would you like to respond first? Mr. Chan? Thank you, Chairman. Several points first, and then I'll defer to our colleagues in the Marine Department to say something. I'd like to respond to the several points made. First of all, I would like to clarify that the government is not jumping the gun here. The mud unloading points of the MTRCL took effect in 2009, and that order was ended on the December 31st, 2014, and starting from the 1st of January 2015, the 3 points have automatically been given back to the PCWA area. And this order of the 30th of January seeks to dovetail with the SPS project of the Central and Western District, and we would be allocating this small portion at the western part of PCWA as the access point for the project. To facilitate management, the 3 sites have been redelineated and be included as part of PCWA. Well, so actually the delineation was already done automatically on the 1st of January 2015. With regard to the usage rate, the THB earlier said that there would be a review. In fact, we are doing that. We said that on several occasions. The leases for all PCWAs will expire in July next year, and actually the Marine Department is doing a review now, and we expect that it will be completed by the middle or the end of this year. We will look at the utilization rate. We don't yet have an assessment on the utilization rate. Now, on tendering, we are still doing a review. Will the government re-tender the mud unloading points and lease them out for 3 to 5 years? No, we will not do that, pending the outcome of the review. Thank you, Chairman. Marine Department, do you have anything to add? One point to add, Chairman. After the review is done, we will consult the various stakeholders, including the District Council, the trade in the PCWA, and we will also come to the LegCo. The review will involve the use of the berthing spaces at PCWA and leasing matters. We will come back to talk to you on our overall arrangement. Mr. Frankie Yick. Well, you can have as much time as you want. Mr. Zhang, His first question is, Marine Department, the 3 compensatory plots, what will they be used for? Well, we see that there is a communication breakdown here. In the paper, you propose these 3 sites, but the trade doesn't know anything about the use and when it will be put to use. This is exactly their worry. Mr. Chen also said that most Hong Kong people would like the harbour front be used for leisure purposes. PCWA serves a good purpose starting from the early days, and it still plays a vital role today. But we see that in our planning, we are trying to cut down on the PCWAs. We used to have 8, now we are left with 6. And the length is cut by 1/3. And the latest thinking is this Kwai Chung, Stonecutters Islands PCWA, will be cancelled. And of course, we understand we want to improve our living environment. The trade is not necessarily against the demolishing the PCWA, but then you must have an alternative option for them, or else you will be asking them to close down their business and you'll be asking them to be on CSSA. I know that the Marine Department is doing a comprehensive review. Please take on board sectors from interest from every sector. Transportation cost on land from mainland to Hong Kong is rising, and a lot of the trade people are using sea transport. So please take on board that point. I haven't had the chance to talk with the trade on the impact of these 3-in-1 proposal, 3-for-1 proposal. In the paper, it says that there will not be any extra cost involved, extra staff costs, and will not have economic implications. Well, common sense tells me that if we have 3 instead of 1 working area, then the costs will rise. But then since the trade accepts the arrangement, then I have nothing more to say. But I hope that when the government plans for land use along the harbour front, please take care of the needs of sea transport. Administration, any response? Assistant Director, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Yik, for your comments. We will take on board interest of all parties, including the trades, aspirations on the use and long-term development of PCWA. The Central and Western District Council has its own views on PCWA's use and their aspirations for harbourfront facilities. We did communicate with the District Council, and when we do a review, we have to strike a balance among the needs of various parties. The District Councillor said that the order will, in effect, divide up the PCWA into several parts. I think there is a communication problem here. Mr. Tony Chan said that the 3 temporary barging points of the MTRCL, that actually several years ago, together with MTRCL and the Works departments, have agreed that these 3 sites will be first delineated for their use, and then after their works are completed, they will be restored. In the last order, we have made that provision already. We are here not to change the order made earlier. And actually, the order expires on the 31st of December 2014. And starting from 1st of January 2015, the 3 original barging points will be restored and returned and incorporated into the original PCWA. The order proposed this time seeks to delineate uploads near the Western Wholesale Full Market for providing an access point to the SPS project. We are not dividing up the PCW into several parts. We are just allocating some 200 square meters to the Central Western District Council so that there will be an access point to the revitalization project. We are doing this to dovetail with the SPS project as to the use for the 3 barging points in the future. As I said, we would tell you our decision after the review.
Was I myself who proposed the need for a subcommittee to be set up to look into the order. I'm a member of the district council. In fact, members of the public are really concerned about waterfront land. They would like to be able to use the waterfront sites, but then at the same time, I'm aware of the significance of PCWAs to our transport industry. Well, this PCWA has been very well known, but of course it is a matter of how we can have shared use. On the one hand, we allow the public to use the waterfront. On the other hand, we can maintain the economic activities of the transport industry. Now for this order, it seems that all out of a sudden, our attention has been brought to the PCWA again. It seems that the administration would like to use the site for cargo working purposes again instead of returning to the public. I understand that there is a sunset clause. Well, in fact, for the previous order, there was a sunset order. The land given to the MTRCL was returned to the government. Now, I understand that a portion of land in the northeast has to be returned to the administration. I think there is some deficiencies in the communication. The administration hasn't briefed the district council. We haven't been given an explanation. So, without any serious discussion and without the conclusion of any review of the PCWAs, and if you allow the operators to use the land for another 5 years or 6 years, that means that we have to wait for a much longer time. Now, Mr. Chen, I think you made a very clear point. That is, before you complete the review, all the existing economic activities will not be expanded. That is, upon release of the findings of the review, you will come back to the LegCo, the district council, as well as the trade, before you make your next move. I think that's most important. Otherwise, you're really jumping the gun. Who can answer this question? Mr. Chairman, you were right in making such a point. That is, before we have completed the review, we will not be planning for any lease of any barging ponds to the operators. Industry? Yes, if I may comment on the operation of the Western District PCWA. Yes, Mr. Cheng. Well, Chai Wan, Shushai Wan, Shaoqi Wan have all been developed. The Western District has been lagging behind in terms of development. The PCWA has its own significance. For the Western District PCWA, it is close to the dried seafood area, the Chinese herbs area, as well as the Western wholesale food market. It is also close to the islands, so they account for 50 to 60% of the trade. And we have got many major food wholesalers in our district as well. Now, the MTRCL temporarily used 3 barging ponds. Now, if there are further attempts to expand the waterfront or the harborfront promenade, then will be jeopardized, because it will take land away from us, and then you will say that we are not using it, and so you are not returning it to us. Would it be fair to the trade? Mr. Wong? Mr. Chairman, if I may talk about the history. I don't think it's a matter of the administration or the trade trying to occupy the land. As the Chief Assistant Secretary has said, it is a matter of restoring it. In the past, the MTRCL would like to use part of the site, and so we had to accommodate the need, and we shifted the site of our operation. We've always been very accommodating. Whatever we can do, we'll try to accommodate the administration. But I hope the public won't get the impression that we are occupying the land or we are sort of holding on to it. Now, in fact, the administration is merely doing what is right. In fact, it isn't a matter of using the site on a permanent basis. The government is merely redelineating the area. The administration is just doing what is right. In fact, on the eastern side, near to the wholesale food market, there will be an area to be set aside for the purpose of open space. So please don't misunderstand us. We are not being unreasonable. We have always been willing to have a dialogue. Mr. Chen, for the District Council, we have never thought of evicting the PCWA entirely, because the PCWA operators are also part of the community. But in recent years, we've seen a lowering of the utilization rate of the PCWA. In fact, even without in the days without the temporary barging ponds, they were able to cope. And then even for the facility of the China Merchants Shipping Group, that's not being put to active use. So I just wonder whether we need that much land for the operation. They could do without the temporary barging ponds for so many years, and so we would rather have it for public use. Can you, Mr. Chairman, ask the Planning Department to give us the data? That is the shortage of open space in the Western District vis-a-vis the population size. If I remember correctly, the shortage must be up to 5 hectares of land. You're not finding new land for this purpose, and yet you allow the development to go on. We have only got one part which is sort of decent, and that's the Belcher Base Park, and yet it is really crowded. As early as 7 a.m. you have to fight for space. Now, I know that if the operators still need the land in question, I think it's better to return it to the public so that we can make good use of them. Now, for the Western Wholesale Food Market, the piers have been built for many years, as early as 1991-92, but they have never been used because of the strong currents and waves. For the stretch near to Shek Tong Chui, again, it hasn't been used at all because of the strong waves. Now, the public would get the impression that if you can't have berthing activities, then you would have it as a storage area. The administration and the public have got different views as to the maximization of land uses. We believe that it's better for the three sites to be returned to the public for recreational use if it is not to be used by the operators. This is because the bus terminus will also be relocated. So for that land, together with the three barging ponds, I'm sure we can have a waterfront promenade running for a few hundred meters. We don't expect the entire PCWA to be relocated in the short term, but we just want to make sure that we can connect with the portion nearer to Shek Tong Chui so that the operators can use their site and the public can also use the site. We haven't got any specific details, but that's the direction we want to adopt. Of course, the Bureau has also told us that before the review is completed, the Bureau is not going to lease out the three barging ponds. I hope they will regard this as a solemn place and they will honor the undertaking seriously. And please don't jump the gun. Who would like to ask questions? Christopher Chung. If we haven't got anybody after him, then I can excuse the deputations. Yu Chi Wing, Sid Ho, Frankie Yik, Christopher Chung. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The public need waterfront sites for the purpose of community building and development, but of course it will affect the trade. My question is, will the order result in any impact on the Hong Kong Island PCWAs? The one at Wan Chai has been suspended, and so I want to know whether what you're going to do will affect the PCWAs elsewhere on the Hong Kong Island. I think your paper is silent on the traffic impacts. Mr. Chen. Well, this is merely to tie in with the latest proposal. We don't think that there will be any traffic impact nor any impacts on the other PCWA on Hong Kong Island. Mr. Yu Xu-wing. I also live in the Western District. I'm quite familiar with the conditions in the Western District. In the past, we used to have low-rise buildings in the Western District. Nowadays, we've got more high-rise buildings. For the Western District, we have got an elderly population. They need open space to move around. But at the same time, we have to bear in mind the long tradition of loading and unloading activities at the PCWA to support the trade in the trade of dried seafood. We need to strike a balance. Bearing in mind the future land uses, I think the administration should give further consideration to the town planning. Now, I'm worried that the administration may think that the problem has been resolved and then it will be put on hold for a few years. Now, the administration may think that it will not reopen the discussion in the coming years, and it will take another couple of years for the discussion to be completed. That means that for 10 years or so, the progress will be suspended. Now, in fact, the Western District Committee would like to see a clearer direction for the land use here. But I'm afraid we don't have a blueprint. On the one hand, I just wondered if we can get more data. First of all, for the cargo working activities, have we seen any fluctuations? Now, the Western District used to be the hub of marine traffic, but nowadays, container trucks and transport by rail have replaced the marine transport. Now, we need to be sure about the positioning. We have to be told about the changes in the past few years, and then we can look forward. And then we know what to do in terms of the planning for the PCWA here, as well as the need to have open space for the Western District.
Sorry, I stepped out just a minute ago. I don't know whether the administration has given us the details. Will they be able to give us some statistics? There is a review of PCWA, and in the middle of this year there will be a report. Originally, the report is supposed to be completed early this year. Assistant Director. Thank you, Chairman. We are now conducting a review, not just only on the Western District, but there will be an overall review of all PCWAs on their utilization and the arrangements for berthing spaces. We need to do planning. The berthing space leases or agreements will expire in the middle of next year, so we have to do the review now. We have to deal with comments of various stakeholders. As what Mr. Yu said, we need to strike a balance. Most importantly, after this review, we will consult the various stakeholders, including the Trade District Council and also the Legislative Council. We hope to solicit your support before we can further take forward the leasing arrangements in the future. Can you provide us with the statistics now, or should we wait till after the review is done? With regard to the cargo volume handled by Western District PCWA, last year it handled 300,000 tons. There are 85,000 vehicle trips. Compared to other districts, they are on the load side, relatively speaking. But we have to understand one point. Mr. Zhang from the PCWA said that clearly too, that the cargo handled at the Western PCWA are not voluminous in volume, but it does have a good role to play. It handles goods from Chengchou, Pingchao, Lama Island. Goods from these outlying islands have to be carried by sea transport, and also goods to Macau are also loaded and unloaded at this PCWA for large prefabricated construction parts which cannot be carried by land transport and pass through tunnels. They have to be transported via this PCWA. So that's my brief response. Mr. Yu, I think statistics are important. Can we look at the trends in the past few years? And after we've got the statistics, can we look at whether there is an alternative site for building PCWA in the Western District, which can serve the cargo loading and unloading purposes? We should not improve people's livelihood at the expense of economic development. But if we have the statistics, we can try to see if we can find alternative sites, and that the government can make assessments such as those. I believe that that will be covered on the review. Ms. Sito, we have been discussing this for a long time. I wonder how come the government has not consulted the district council this time with regard to district administration and land planning. I think the district council should play a bigger role than the legislative council. But then there are loopholes in the design of our district administration system. The residents are part of that community, and the operators and also the seafood shops are also part of the Western District community. If you can devolve the authority to the district council, I believe the district council can easily strike a balance. We know that cargo handling is important to the district. It's just that the residents may not be aware of the benefits. But if we have we rezone the land to some open space, and that's I mean the usage is visible to everyone. So I think the district council should play a bigger role, and the district council should know how to strike a balance, especially if, say, some part of the government revenue goes to the district council. Say, if we ask some remove some seafood shop, then there will be less revenue, and then the district council will be in position to see how it can affect the district as a whole. So the first thing you should do is to consult the district council. The district council has said that a promenade should be built without any barriers in between. They have been saying this for over 10 years. But how come that when you resume the land or recover the land from the MTRCL, why you are not consulting the district council? I think you've missed this very important step, and that's most problematic. You've got the figures with you on hand, but how come that you have not included those in the paper to the LegCo. You are just providing those figures upon our questioning. I'm very unhappy about this. Well, of course, in the meeting, we would ask for statistics. We would ask about the use of that of a particular plot of land. So the administration, please make amend to your procedure and go and consult the district council as soon as you can. Taking Hong Kong as a whole, the Legislative Council plays a role. We know the how cargo is handled at the PCWA and how it serves the river trade vessels. And actually, the river trade vessels count very much on the PCWA. If the PCWA is located somewhere else, and if 85,000 vehicle trips have to be rerouted to some other parts, and that might also again be a problem in terms of creating transport congestion. So all these have to be laid out to the Legislative Council. I think you are concealing much information. And if the LegCo doesn't look at things in detail, then we will not be discharging our duty. I think the government is missing a lot of the necessary procedures in your current proposal, and I think you have not presented us with a full set of information, so I register my concern and dissatisfaction here. And I agree with the chairman that pending the outcome of the review, you should not be leasing out the barging points. And in the consultation and the review, you should be providing sufficient information to the Legislative Council and the District Council for us to consider. The administration thinks that barging points are necessary and they are important for river trade business, for goods from Macau, and for transporting prefabricated construction parts and so on. That's all very well. Have you thought about building facility enhancing the efficiency of the barging points? I think the facilities in the pier are very obsolete. For how long have they not been updated? Can we do some enhancement to boost the efficiency of operations? Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Ho, for your questions. When we worked on the order this time, we know that the former order took effect on the 1st of January this year because there was a sunset clause, and we didn't have plans to consult the District Council. And the District Council has aspirations for building a harbourfront promenade, and we are aware of that. So that's why we propose allocating a portion of the PCWA to provide for an access point to the promenade. We are now conducting a comprehensive review of the PCWA. Before that is completed, and before we consult the relevant district councils, we would not be leasing out the berthing spaces, especially for the temporary barging points of MTRCL. Our position is very clear on that Ms. Sitho, has the administration considered how the facilities at the pier can be upgraded to boost efficiency? Chairman, we have communicated with the trade on that. In the design of the operation of PCWA and the lease period, actually, we have lengthened the lease period to facilitate the trade in upgrading the facilities and investing into new operation facilities. We would work together with the trade to enhance efficiency. This will also be covered in our review. What I'm worried, Chairman, is that they are taking a piecemeal approach. If you think the PCWA is essential, why don't you do a formal study on how to boost its efficiency? Now, conversely, if you think the PCWA should not be there at all, you should think about measures to remove it. But I think your position is neither here nor there. Any response? If not, then the next term is Mr. Tony Chair. Thank you, Chairman. I don't think the government is doing a good job in its arrangement and also in the writing of the paper. The red parts in the diagram that will be released for the enhancement, harbourfront enhancement project. Of course, that we should support that. But then it gives us the impression that this is a sort of give and take arrangement. You seem to be saying that I am taking away the red part, I'm giving you back the blue parts. You said that the blue parts actually were leased to the MTRCL for use, and the leasing period expired at the end of last year, and once the lease period is over, the sites should be returned. Then Mr. Chen said rightly that since the PCWA could exist without these sites for such a long time, could we consider having these blue parts for some other uses as well?
However, the administration has given the public this perception that while the red portion has been given up, in return they are getting back the 3 blue portions of land. But I think, of course, it isn't a matter of an exchange. I think the administration is merely trying to take the opportunity to do it as well. I hope the administration will clarify this point. Now, first of all, the blue portions will be returned to the PCWA. I think the administration should seriously examine whether they are really useful. Now, the administration is saying that it will await the completion of the review. But then, of course, we need the PCWA. However, we still have to assess the utilization rate. You need to re-examine the utilization of each and every PCWA. Now, the MTRCL has been using this site for a long period of time, so it should have been re-examined, and it should not be confined to this specific PCWA. I just wonder if the administration has ever examined the PCWAs since 1981, like the efficiency, facility, likewise. Otherwise, the public would be worried as to whether the administration would just be expanding the facilities and there won't be any end to the operation. Well, please further explain the blue portions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a look of the map. There is this proposal to align the boundaries. For the red portion, the area marked red, that's to be released for the SPS project. For the 3 additional portions, as indicated by areas marked blue, we are merely doing this in response to the Lands Department's request. Now we're talking about very small portions of land. That's the place where they've got the gates or the entrances. It's better for their easier management if they have got a straight line rather than having a recess. For the 3 portions, the total area is just 300 square meters. For the 3 barging points mentioned by Mr. Chen, well, that's to the southwestmost portion of the PCWA. We have got a sea frontage of about 170 meters, and they aren't the 3 blue portions of land on the map. When there was a discussion to allow the MTR to use that site, there was a discussion with the district council, and there was an agreement that we should be accommodating and we should allow the MTR to use those 3 barging points. Upon completion of the project, they should be restored or reverted. So an account has been given to the district council, and for that particular order in that year to amend the delineation, there was a sunset clause. Now, on this occasion, we come so as to tie in with the SPS. Perhaps the district council wasn't too aware of the sunset clause. Now, they may think that the PCWA has its area expanded, including the ones given to the MTR. And so they have become very concerned about the amendment. We have made ourselves clear. We'll be awaiting the overall review. Once that's completed, then we'll come back to you and talk about the future of the PCWAs, including the focus of today's discussion, that is the berths at the Western District PCWA. Thank you. I would like to thank the administration for the clarification. Now for the 3 areas marked blue, understand that this is to align with the latest boundaries. But then there's one which isn't really a matter of a mere alignment. I think there's an additional portion. Yes, if I may comment on the last one. For that site, currently the Lands Department is allowing this narrow strip of land to be used for goods vehicle parking. But then that's not popular and it's difficult to manage, and therefore this area is to be incorporated into the PCWA. So it is as simple as that. For the 3 areas marked blue, we want them to be incorporated into the PCWA. This is for the sake of easier land administration. For the 3 barging ponds, together with this new area marked blue, we are just sort of managing them for the administration. Currently, we don't have any plans to lease them for any operation. Mr. Chairman, it bears out the accusation that a lot of things are absent from the paper, so it makes it difficult for us to study the matter. That's why we have been caught by surprise. Mr. Yip would like to ask a question for the second time. Can I ask if members would like to have further questions for the deputations? If not, I think they may be excused. And then we can carry on with our meeting. So, would you like to ask them any questions? Would you like to keep them? Yes? All right. Mr. Sin Chung Kai. No, I didn't raise my hand. Mr. Frankie Yik. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this morning we have a very meaningful discussion. It highlights the fact that for the PCWA here, just like the parking of our heavy goods vehicles, the administration has never paid any attention to the matter. We have had it for a long time. It's never been popular. Now, even for the one at Tuen Mun, there are requests, there are calls for it to be relocated, but I don't know where it should go. Of course, we always have to strike a balance among the various interests. Since the year 2010, the PCWA in Chakoling Kwun Tong has been sort of relocated, abolished. Now for this one, if you talk about relocation, I just don't know where it can be relocated to. But we do need a PCWA. It does contribute to the development of our economy. We should respect the wisdom of our predecessors. Now, as it has been pointed out, if you want to go to Macau, to the islands, you really need to start from this PCWA. Just now, Mr. Chen, District Council member, you referred to a very good point. That is the exceptionally low utilization rate of the Western wholesale food market peers. Well, the District Council has got a plan to revitalize it. Yes, we shouldn't waste the resource. We would like to turn it into a tourist attraction. Let me repeat one more point. We've got someone from the Bureau. Now, the planning department requires your policy directives before they can make any decisions. Now, we need the cargo working tray, and we need to keep the PCWA. Mr. Chung. I want to ask the trade if they're happy with the arrangements, because you have 3 different or 3 separate points. So I want to know, by cancelling or by taking away the area marked red, in return you get the 3 areas marked blue. Would it facilitate your operation? Or if we are to put them together, would it facilitate the trade while minimizing the nuisance to the public? Now, the Bureau is saying that nobody is managing that site, and so it should be given to the Marine Department. But can it be used for larger items? Or are you imposing it on the Marine Department? I just wonder if it is appropriate or not. Well, the activities are already centralized. They are not decentralized at 3 separate points. Mr. Cheng, for the 3 areas now, for the 3 barging points, they have been used by the administration or by the MTRCL for barging. Now, in the future, if there's another major project and you would like to get land from the PCWA, then we'll have less area for our work. And maybe after that, you don't want to return it to us, and you try to use it for waterfront promenade. And you will always talk about returning the harbor to the people. But what about the facilities or the infrastructural projects that will be supported by the activities at this PCWA? You may carve out a portion on this occasion. Next time you may want to repeat it again. Won't you agree with me that this is most unfair to us? We don't want to start a precedent. Mr. Chung, anything to add?
Mr. Chung, we should have advanced with the times in the use of our harbour front. We should try to take an integrated approach. We should see that there is a need for land use from the trade. And we should have an overall assessment of the use of land for PCWA. This is my personal stance. We don't want to have a harbourfront promenade and then no PCWA at all. This is not my view. But of course, there will be some impact on the PCWA if we are to have a promenade. I have visited the site myself. Some portions of the land have been lended or leased to MTRCL for storage, storing goods and articles, and the plots have been handed over back. So what use should we make to these plots? That should be something for our further discussion. I have a view. The promenade is quite narrow. And if parts of the land is made available for your use, then the heavy-duty goods vehicles will have difficulties in turning around and transporting, unloading and unloading the goods. The area is rather narrow. The 40 feet heavy goods vehicle would have difficulties in turning around. If we are to release the red area to you, that will have an impact on the operation of the vegetable market as well. But still, we are willing to agree to your request because we want to make things better for everyone. In the past, we used to operate till 11 p.m., but now it's just 9 p.m. because you said that there will be noise nuisance. So the trade is having a difficult time now. I started out working in the trade from when I was a boy, and you asked us to join the trade. Then in 1981, the PCWA was very busy, and there were a lot of loading and unloading activities. There were river trade vessels using the PCWA and so on. Now the utilization rate is a little bit lower, and you are proposing all sorts of alternative uses to the PCWA. I live in the Western District myself, and we used to have a footbridge from the vegetable market. Well, my proposal is that to build a footbridge all the way from the vegetable market up to the harbor front. But my proposal was not accepted. I want you to have a proposal which can strike a balance among the various parties. We can still operate, and at the same time, you can enjoy the promenade. Now, some elderly people were complaining that they could not enjoy the harbor front. And also for this edible oil factory, they were complaining that the hygiene condition was poor. And also, we should have closed business in 9 p.m. and we are still operating actively up to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And we are trying to be as accommodating as we can. And some residents who are walking along the harbor front were asking us to try to move away from them and so on. And the residents are cycling and they are having strollers around and so on. And some residents are very unreasonable indeed. So the Marine Department should be doing something about that. And I think we should be as accommodating as we can. Thank you. Mr. Chan Hok Fong. I appreciate Mr. Zhang's views. My understanding is that for the entire PCWA, it should be an operating area and people should not enter it casually. And sometimes the Marine Department is turning a blind eye and allowing residents to go into the area when the PCWA is not in operation. We understand that this is undesirable. Mr. Zhang rightly pointed out that there may be danger. And some vessel operators have complained to us that there was lost property as well. So we want to better regulate it. We don't want to affect the operation, and we don't affect people enjoying the harbor front at the same time. So if you look at the diagram, at the blue portion, at the left bottom area, this is also part of the PCWA. Our view is that since for so many years, this blue portion has been taken out, and as we understand that the berthing spaces are not fully utilized, can we do some enhancements to these berthing spaces so that they can be used as open spaces for public enjoyment? If that is done, then all the residents can go specifically to these 3 areas, and then they will not go to other parts and affect your operation. Now, Mr. Zhang also floated the idea of a footbridge. I think this is a good idea, but it's just that the DC doesn't have the money to do it. There is this lorry parking area outside the blue portion. Can we build a footbridge connecting this part to the Beltridge Bay Garden and even to the wholesale food market? It's difficult to do that. The distance is like 1 kilometer, and the costs will be exorbitant. I don't think the district council can afford it. If we can say have $100 million on a long-term basis, then we can certainly embark on it. But the 100 million amount is just a one-off grant. The Sam Kwok Ma Tau is part of the Western District's history, and we will not forget that many residents fended for themselves, depend via that pier. And we would also consider the operators as part of the Western District community. we will have further discussions with them, and some people may resort to more radical actions. But these radical actions are not something that the district council agrees to. So what we want to do is to make the best use of the land, and we can further communicate with the Marine Department, THB, and also the LegCo on how to make the best use of the area. Mr. Wong. Some members just now said that the facilities of the PCWA are obsolete. I think the lease period for the PCWA should be on a much longer term, not just 3 to 5 years, just like a public market. My aspiration is that the PCWAs should be leased on a permanent basis, and then we can modernize the PCWA. Well, we have difficulties in recruiting workers. Now, I think we should have permanent use of the land to help mitigate our problems in recruiting workers. Well, after Mr. Yik has asked, and we'll end the discussion session with the deputations. Mr. Yik, the crux of the problem is that we lack planning. As I said, we've been ignoring the issue for a long time. Ms. Ho, you raised a very good point. How can we further improve the facilities? Now, if we have a PCWA, and then you have the government might build a seawall, and then the operators might have to build their own lavatories. They have to apply for their power and water supply and so on. The government said that it is conducting a comprehensive review. I hope that you can do better planning. And we should do away with short-term leases, because people won't be prepared to make long-term investment if the lease period is too short. And if we do that, we can resolve the long-standing problems of the trade. Labor is in short supply now. The trade has difficulties in recruiting workers. If we don't make enhancements in the facilities and machinery, then the problem will not go away. So, Chairman, please work together with the THB on long-term planning. This area has long been ignored by the government. Sit Ho, a brief follow-up. When you do planning, don't talk about 3 years or 5 years. Face up to the problem. If you think the PCWA should be relocated, then relocate it. Allow them to operate, say, for 3 to 4 years, and then release the land to the open space. If the PCWA is here to stay, then modernize it and make it possible for both the trade and the public to use the area. Well, I think you have expressed your views clearly. So I thank the three representatives for taking out your time to share with us your views on your operations. Thank you. Members? Any other questions? If not, then I think we will proceed to clause-by-clause scrutiny of the order. If not, then let's go to clause-by-clause scrutiny. Paper CB 4533/1415. Let's start with Annex 1. Well, let's use the marked up copy. Page 1. This is a very simple order. I believe that we can finish it rather quickly. Who to take us through the scrutiny? Mr. Chen? Page 1. commencement date. Thank you, Chairman. As we said, the administration is now applying for funding. When the funding is approved, we will announce the commencement date. Any question? If not, public cargo working area. It says here that the area of unleased government land, having an area of approximately 40,300 square meters, and the numbered HKM 8800A should be declared upon PCWA. And that the diagram or the plan is an Annex 3 of the LegCo brief. The Assistant Director of Lands or the Deputy Director of Lands signed this plan on the 29th of December of 2014 on behalf of the Director of Lands and deposited in the Land Registry. We've had lengthy discussions on this point already. Any further question? If not, page 2. The section here was repealed. Any supplement? As Mr. Jones said, this is to repeal 1998 number 4 order or the number 5 order. Page 3, 7A. Well, let me look at the latest version. 7A. You are not changing anything. You're just adding 7B. 7A is just the sunset clause for the last time. It's not applicable this time. It's not applicable, 7A? That lasted up to the 31st of December. So it should not be applicable starting 31st of December 2014. Well, the part to be deleted should be section 7. No need to repeal 7A. Well, it's automatically repealed. You are proposing to add 7B. 7B. It's just a repetition of the earlier paragraph. Yes. The plan number has been changed because we have a new plan number, and that is HKM 8800A. The area has been changed from 40,200 square meters to 40,300 square meters. And also, again, the Deputy Director of Land signed it on the 29th of December 2014.
Section 8, that's the original one. That's about Rambler Channel. Can I clarify? That's about the Rambler Channel PCWA. Has got nothing to do with the Western District PCWA. We have got another PCWA, the Rambler Channel Typhoon Shelter. It has come into force earlier on. So we've completed with the cross-by-cross scrutiny. Just now we went through the Chinese version, so maybe our legal advisor can take a look of the English version. LA, any questions? No? No questions about the bilingual version of the order. So that means we have completed with the cross-buy and cross-scrutiny if you don't have any other questions. And now I would like to check with members. I think you would agree with me that we've completed our deliberation. On the 13th of March, we are going to report to the House Committee. If you would like to move any amendments, then the deadline to give notice will be the 18th of March. On the 25th of March, we are going back to the LegCo meeting to move the motion. All right. If there aren't other questions, then that takes us to the last item, LB. I don't think we've got anything here. And on this note, we complete our deliberation of the order. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.